Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I am your host, Angelina Wilson. Last night I put together a case for today. This is the case of two murdered boys. 16-year-old James Allen Crosby and 14-year-old William Edward Huff. November 1st, 1972. "12 years later, their bodies were found in the woods behind the airport. No one has been arrested, charged, or convicted in this case. They were both dropped off at their junior high school and disappeared. In April of 1984, they took two men working a dog in the woods. They say running a dog. That's working a dog. I would assume it was a hunting dog, and they were practicing with him or her. And they came across some bones, some clothing, shoes, and they brought the mother. Police brought the mother to the scene of the younger boy, and she recognized her son's shoes. The sheriff's office had a total of 6 people in 1972. It was very difficult for them to do a case this big. And their skulls were never found. They had a jawbone, but dental records didn't match Crosby. Yet she identified his clothes. And they didn't compare him to the other boy. So it may have been the other boy's jaw. I hope they're doing some DNA to see that these the only other clue came in 1987 when a person came forward. The person said in the fall of 1974, this was 2 years later, when they were teenagers, he and 3 others were cutting class with a school administrator chasing behind them. They smelled something awful, saw a flannel shirt, and then a head. But they were too scared to tell anyone what they had seen, and never did until 1987. That's interesting. Why would there still be a foul odor 2 years later? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I never did tell you the state. It was in Walterboro, South Carolina. Yeah, see, and they keep changing the ages. One article says they were 16 and 14. Another article says they were 14 and 11. William, the younger boy's mom, said, wait a minute. They keep changing the ages. It's so weird. Okay. His mother, Alberta Fillers, said, quote, and this is so sad. First, she said he was a good child. He went to school, and the day he disappeared, it was November 1st, 1972. She continued, somebody come and tell me what they did, why they did it. Let me start that again. She continued, somebody come and tell me why they did it and what happened. I never found out what happened to my son. End quote. The sister of the other boy, who was 7 years old at the time, said, quote, caring, loving. He would do anything for you. I remember walking down the store and holding my hand, telling me, don't get in the road, said Charlene Huff, the sister. And again, the mother of the younger boy said, I feel like I am holding him in my lap. He's here. He's with me all the time. In spirit, he is with me. Poor Alberta. I can't even imagine. And to have all these articles were so wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, this is Huff's mother and sister. Okay, the younger boy's mother and sister. The family of James Crosby did not want to be interviewed. Probably too painful. It was 1972. We still don't have closure, Billy's sister said. She continued, we'd really like to get closure, see what happened to him, who did it, if they're still alive. The mother, by the way, is 83 years old. The mother said, quote, I think there's someone out there who knows what happened, but they're not going to tell. I just want someone out there to come forward and tell the truth so I can lay my son to rest. Yeah, articles keep changing the ages of these two boys, and I don't quite understand why that is. I do know that and there was a skull found at Ireland Creek around the same time. It was never linked to the two boys. The first thing the sheriff did was talk to the coroner, which makes sense, I guess. Yikes. There was There was no, the fire department was volunteer. There was no rescue squad. Well, I guess there was. They were volunteers. And one of the two, get this one, funeral homes in town are the ones that basically ran the ambulance, transported people to the hospital. Okay, that's just creepy. But this was a small South Carolina area, and it had no. And Sheriff Basil said, I still have cases I think about and wonder about. Most of my years have been as an investigator, homicides and such. So yeah, I've got a bunch of cases I still think about. And there's nobody except the family that wants this case closed more than I do. Recently, they did bring up DNA. Well, I disagree with that. They're saying that there was nothing that could have been potentially compared to a suspect. They had their clothing and shoes. We have ability today to use special filtered vacuums and special technology to go over those clothes with a literal fine-tooth comb and potentially get touch DNA or get fibers or plant material that wasn't from the area or anything like that. There can potentially be a lot of evidence. You will see, instead of a poster, a 50-year memorial of the two boys that I've chosen to put up in lieu of a poster. They're asking anyone with information, and I'm going to say this, no matter how small or insignificant you think your information is, come forward. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on here. Yes, I do. Sorry. Okay. Bloop. So the phone number is, I think it's the Colleton County Sheriff's at 843-549-2211. That's 843-549-2211. And again, on the 50th anniversary in 2022, there was a memorial for the boys, a 50-year memorial. My personal, good grief, I'm knocking everything down. My personal opinion is that I think they were killed by someone they knew. Potentially they ditched school together that day, and maybe with another friend, or friends is more likely because there were two of them. But I don't feel like this case is going to be solved anytime soon because unfortunately, so much of the information is so jumbled. I mean, how many different ages can you attribute to these boys? If I'm the family, I'm absolutely furious. Just saying. And this is the new camera, by the way. And this came with a lot more than I expected it to come with. I will tell you that. So, I can't wait to see what these videos look like on this camera. But yeah, not good. They also haven't used the technology that we have available to go over the evidence. I'm sure they still have the clothing, the shoes. Do it. And I understand you're a small county in the South with very little. I mean, obviously, they had very little policing. They had very little. I mean, they probably didn't have any crime up until that point. And I mean, the town was so small that, like I said, the two local funeral homes were the ambulance. I mean, can you say creepy? I'm sorry, if I'm calling 911, I don't want Jackman, even though they're about 3 seconds down the street, coming to get me. That's the name of our local funeral home that's literally about 3 seconds down the street from me. Sorry, no. And I'm sure Mr. Jackman doesn't want to be dealing with taking living people to the hospital. So, right, Jerry? Just saying. So, yeah, that would completely creep me out. But it was the norm for them. So, when they called the ambulance, they expected the funeral home. So, let me know what you think. In the meantime, the battery is dying. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you Friday with a Dough Friday. Like I said, I'm flying by the seat of my pants this month, doing the best I can with what I have. Because I have some cases in my notebook listed out. And this happened to be one of them. And I hope you enjoyed it. Well, not enjoyed it, but I hope you learned something. I hope it was interesting. Bye, guys. God bless you. See you Friday.